Hi, boys and girls, this is Miss Lowther. I know that we've talked about two-dimensional shapes and three-dimensional shapes for math, and we've put stuff on Google Classroom and some videos, but we want to make sure that you are understanding how many faces, edges, and vertices each of the three-dimensional shapes have. I know it gets kind of confusing just by watching the video and not having actually something in your hand to count. So these are some of the things that I found in my house that you probably have in your house as well. So the first three-dimensional shape that I want to talk to you about is the cylinder. I went into my pantry and I found a soup can. So here's a cylinder. And then the cylinder, if you look, this is called a face. It's like the flat part. And then on the other side, so there's actually two flat faces, two faces of a cylinder. And then a vertice is a point. So I don't see a point on the cylinder. So there are 0 vertices. And then an edge is kind of like a line segment. I don't see any line segments. So there's 0 on the cylinder. Here's another thing that we actually have in the classroom when you build with blocks, and that's another cylinder. The next thing is a cube. That's another three-dimensional shape. And this is something we have in the classroom. I found it in one of our games down in the basement. This is a cube. And this one is a little bit trickier. This one actually has 6 faces. So if we look, it's the flat part of the dice. And there's 1, and then there's 2. So if you're counting, and 3, and 4, 5, 6. So there's actually 6 faces. And then when you start counting the corners, which are the vertices, okay, and you're looking here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I flip it around to the back, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's actually 8 vertices. And then this is a little bit trickier. This is hard to count when you see it on a piece of paper or your Google Classroom. You actually have to kind of hold it and see, and there's actually lines. Those are edges. And there's 4 on the front. And there's 5, 6, 7, 8, and I flip it over, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's actually 12 edges on a cube. The next three-dimensional shape, oopsie, is a rectangular prism. This one. See, it looks like a rectangle this way. Turn it this way. That one is a square on each end. But a rectangular prism has the same amount of faces, edges, and vertices as a cube. So if you remember, there's actually 6 faces. Faces are flat. Okay, there's 4 if I go all the way around, and then 5 and 6. Now when you start to count the vertices, the corners, there's 4 on this side, and if I flip it around, there's 4 on this side. So 4 plus 4 is 8. So there's 8 vertices, which are corners. And this is the tricky one. So if you're going to count all of these edges or sides, there's 12. Just the same as your cube. Okay, so there's 6 faces, there's 8 vertices, and 12 edges. Another thing you can find in your house, tissue boxes. Okay, that is a rectangular prism. Another is three-dimensional shape is a sphere. Right here, sphere. It's like a ball. Tennis ball, golf ball, basketball. I found this in the house. And if you look, are there any flat faces? 0. Are there any points? Any vertices? 0. And are there any edges, like lines, segments? 0. Okay, and then my favorite, actually, three-dimensional shape is a cone. Do you know why that's my favorite? Because it's an ice cream cone. I found this in my freezer. It's a Snickers ice cream cone. I'm going to eat this as soon as we're done here. But if you look, okay, here's my flat face. There's only one. If I turn it over here, you're going to see a point, and that is called a vertice. So there's 1. And then if you see, are there any edges, any lines? 0. Okay, so that was just a quick review of 3-dimensional shapes of faces, edges, and vertices. Sorry. So look through your house, see if you can find anything, 3-dimensional shapes, which I'm sure you do, and go over and see how many faces, edges, and vertices there are on each 3-dimensional shape. And we hope to see you soon. Stay safe. Bye.